Tempest. The Tempest is the last play written by William Shakespeare. The story is about magic described in an enchanting way. The tempest, the violent storm, is caused by magic, and how the trusted spirits help the one who was wronged by his own brother. Characters: Prospero, Duke of Milan; Miranda, Prospero's daughter; Caliban, son of Sycorax; Ariel, an airy spirit; Ferdinand, son of the King of Naples. There was an island in the sea on which lived an old man called Prospero with his beautiful daughter Miranda. They lived in a cave made out of rock. Prospero had great knowledge of magic. This island had been enchanted by a witch named Sycorax. Prospero, by the power of his magic, set many good spirits free that Sycorax had shut up in the bodies of large trees because they had refused to obey her wicked commands. The spirits were grateful to him for this kind act. Caliban was an ugly monster. He was the son of Sycorax. Prospero took Caliban to his cave and taught him to speak. Ariel was a naughty, lively spirit. When Caliban was lazy and wouldn't work, Ariel would pinch and trouble him. The spirits were obedient to Prospero. By his orders, they raised a great storm. Prospero showed Miranda how a large ship was struggling in the midst of it. The wild sea waves every moment seemed about to swallow it up. The ship, he told her, was full of human beings. "Oh, my dear father," said she, "if you, by your magic, have raised this dreadful storm, have pity on their sad trouble. The vessel will be dashed to pieces. Poor souls, they all will be drowned. If I had power, I would sink the sea beneath the earth rather than the good ship should be destroyed, with all the precious souls within her."
"Be not so wild, daughter Miranda,"
said Prospero.
"There is no harm done. I have so ordered it that no person in the ship shall receive any hurt. What I have done has been done in care of you, my dear child. You do not know where you come from, and you know no more of me but that I am your father and live in this poor cave. Can you remember a time before you came here? I think you cannot, for you were not then 3 years of age."
"Certainly I can, sir," replied Miranda.
"By what?"
asked Prospero.
"By any other house or person. Tell me what you can remember, my child."
Miranda said, "It seems to me like the memory of a dream. But had I not once 4 or 5 women who served me?" Prospero answered,
"You had, and more. How it is that this still lives in your mind? Do you remember how you came here?"
"No, sir," said Miranda. "I remember nothing more." Act 1, Scene 2. Enter Prospero and Miranda. "If by your art you have put the wild waters in this row, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea, mounting to the welkin cheek, dashes the fire out. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel, dashed all to the pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere it should the good ship so have swallowed the frothing souls within her."
"Be collected. No more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done."
"Oh, woe! The day!"
"No harm. I have done nothing, but in care of thee."
"Of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter?"
"Who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, nor that I am better than Prospero, master of a full poor cell, and thy no greater father."
"More to know did never meddle with my thoughts."
"The hours now come, the very minute bids thee open thine ear. Obey, and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came upon this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou wast not our 3 years old."
"Certainly, sir," I can.
By what? By any other house or person of anything the image, tell me, that hath kept with thy remembrance.
'Tis far off, and rather like a dream, than an assurance that my remembrance warrants, had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me?
Thou hadst, and more, Miranda, but how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the backward and abysm of time, if thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here? How thou camest here thou mayest.
But that I do not.
12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since, the father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power.
Sir, are not you my father? Oh, the heavens! What foul play had we, that we came from thence, or blessed was't we did.
My brother and my uncle, called Antonio, I pray thee, mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious. He whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manager of my estate, and Prospero, the prime duke, being the reputed in dignity, and for the liberal arts, without a parallel. Those being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies, thy false uncle.
Dost thou attend me most heedfully?
I pray thee, mark me, I thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind, in my false brother awkward and evil nature, and my trust like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary as great as my trust was, which had indeed no limit, made such a sinner of his memory to credit his own lie. He did believe he was indeed the Duke of the substitution and executing the outward face of royalty with all prerogative. Hence his ambition growing dost thou hear.
Your tale, sir, would cure deafness.
Me, my library was dukedom large enough. Of temporal royalties he thinks me now incapable, confederate.
So dry he was for sway.
With the king of Naples, to give him annual tribute, do him homage, subject his coronet to his crown and bend, the dukedom yet unbowed.
Alas, poor Milan!
To most ignoble
Oh,
stooping.
the heavens!
Mark his conditions and the event. Then tell me, if this might be a brother.
I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne bad sons.
This king of Naples being an enemy, to me inverterate, here comes my brother's suit, which was that he in lieu of the premises should presently extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Milan with all the honours. On my brother Antonio opened the gates of Milan, and I, the dead of darkness, the ministers, for the purpose hurried hence me, and thy crying self.
I not remembering how I cried out, then will cry it over again.
Hear a little further, and then I'll bring thee to the present business, which now's upon without the which this story were most impertinent.
Wherefore did they not that hour destroy us?
They hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a butt, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast, the very rats instinctively have quitted. There they hoist us to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds.
What trouble was I then to you?
Thou wast that did preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with the fortitude from heaven.
How came we ashore?
My providence divine. Some food we had, and some fresh water, that a noble Neapolitan Gonzalo, out of his charity,
who being then appointed master of this design,
did give us, with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have steadied much, so of his gentleness, knowing I loved my books, he furnished me, from mine own library, with volumes that I prize above my dukedom.
Heaven, thank you for it. And now, I pray you, sir, for still it's beating in my mind, your reason for raising this sea storm.
know thus far forth, by accident most strange, bountiful fortune,
Now, my dear lady,
hath mine enemies brought to this shore. Come away, servant, come. I am ready now. Approach my Ariel. Come.
Ariel enters,
Well, my brave spirit,
said Prospero to Ariel.
how have you performed your task?
Ariel gave a lively story of the storm and of the fears of the seamen, and how the king's son, Ferdinand, was the first who leaped into sea, and his father thought he saw his dear son swallowed up by the waves and lost.
But he is safe,
Said Ariel.
in a corner of the isle, sitting with his arms folded sadly, crying out for the loss of the king his father, whom he thinks drowned. That's my good Ariel.
Said Prospero.
Bring him here, my daughter must see this young prince. Where is the king and my brother? I left them,
Answered Ariel.
searching for Ferdinand. Is there more work?
Said Ariel. Prospero told him what further he would have him do, and away went Ariel, first to where he had left Ferdinand, and found him still sitting on the grass in the same sad state.
My young gentleman,
Said Ariel, when he saw him.
I will soon move you. You must be bought, I find, for the Lady Miranda to have a sight of your pretty figure. Come, sir,
The
follow
prince
me.
followed the sound of Ariel's voice.